we were wondering that you could really mess people up on draft day. If you wanted to.
Okay, so it sounds like a setup for a bit, but this is true. And I didn't talk to you about this at all. This is no setup. So I'm calling Steve Keim or texting Steve Keim audio messages before. So I'm before the draft, about 4 hours before the draft, because once the draft got close, I didn't hear from him for hours.
All right, so the GM of the Cardinals.
So I'm sending Steve Keim messages from John Gruden. I'll tell you what, man. I love you, brother. I got an idea. How about you draft somebody else at number 1? And how about you draft Joey Bosa at number 1? And then I'll draft Kyler Murray at number 4. We'll make a trade. I'll give you my 27th pick. You give me a second rounder. We have the best trade ever, man. I think it works out for both teams. So then he got that, and then he sent it on to some other people. I called him up as Jay Glazer, too. I was like, you're not going to believe this. I just heard there's unbelievable stuff going on. And you can't do Jay Glazer without swearing every 5 seconds. There's F this, F that. Steve, you got to go. And then Schefter, I called his Schefter. And the Schefter, I'm like, listen, I hear you're talking to both Ian Rappaport and Jay Glazer, and I just wanted you to know my phone is on, and if you ever need to talk to me, I'll be here wherever I am, in a chair, sitting perfectly upright and prepared. And then Steve sent that on to Schefter, and then Schefter texts me, look what I got from Steve Keim. What are you doing? So Schefter, who always says, I just don't hear myself when you're talking is me. I'm not sure if it's right.
But I think most people react that way, don't they?
Some do. It's funny how close some voices are, because Schefter with a cold is Ian Rappaport. It's weird. I don't know why, but they're the same guy. If you have that cadence, you become an NFL insider, unless you're Jay Glazer. And Jay Glazer's like, you want to work out? Let's work out. Good night. I'm on my way to work out. You know what I'm going to do on my way to work out? I'm going to work out. Double workout. Do you think I could play Ram Man and He-Man the movie? Do you think I could do that? I'm not even sure if I have a neck. I'm sure. I
don't know if many people are doing Ian Rappaport, though. I mean, it's very niche.
Yeah, well, if you think Adam Schefter's niche, then
no, Shefty though is people know Shefty.
It's the Simpsons world. That's what this. I've pigeonholed myself at this point. I'm actually doing Adam Schefter while trying not to do it. I've actually pigeonholed myself in a lot of ways into doing all these sports impressions that are so niche. Like nobody outside of the sports world knows Mel Kiper Jr. You know, the whole ta. And here's every time I see McShay, he's like, you've ruined my life. I'm like, why? Because all I hear is Todd. They didn't know your name before I did that. You were the other guy with Count Chocula.
But my audience, the sports audience, eats this.
Absolutely, yeah. People get it. I do some weird ones too. Like I go to just to mess Rich Eisen show up. Who's a good friend, right?
Yeah.
So I can mention that.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'll just go on and do Steve Mariucci hands. That's the whole thing. Is do the mooch hands. He's just. Hey, look at my headphones are coming off. You got to take a look over here. We're going out that way, and I'm real life Chris Farley back in it. I just.
Yeah, you're messing things up here.
That's
in
all
the
right.
man cave.
Yeah. All right, we're back.
Steve Keim is joining us. Your good friend, the Arizona Cardinals GM.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
How did you put up with Frank on draft day? At least prior to the draft, with all these prank phone calls.
He turned his phone off.
Well, I mean, is this really Dan or is this Frank?
Well, it could be Dan and Jim Rome asking you questions.
How great is this? Probably the best show that's... Don't talk over me, Steve!
Dan, it was torture. I felt like I did 3 or 4 trades with the Raiders, and I had to call Mike Mayock and realize it wasn't really them.
How long have you guys known each other?
Probably.
How long, Frank?
Probably 6-7 years, something like that, because Lance Zierlein out of Houston, who works NFL Network, and so his dad was coaching with he was a line coach for the Cardinals, and he was on a plane, and he says, I text Lance, I go, is this your dad? And a picture of him. He's like, yeah. So I ended up getting to meet Steve through that, and the Cardinals facility is on the same street I live on. It's just 3 blocks down, with like 3 miles or something like that. I came in and just met with Steve, and it kicked off. It was a lot of fun. It was incredible. And he's always like, do you know how many people know you? I'm like, I'm a big deal, man.
Yeah, but you're also a Packer fan, aren't you?
Well, Steve has lured me. I'm going to be a huge Kyler Murray fan.
Okay.
Absolutely huge. I'm getting way on board. I'll always be a Packer fan, somewhat, but because I grew up there. But here's the thing. I like being friends with an NFL GM, so I'm going to be a huge Kyler Murray fan.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.